Hey folks, before we dive in, make sure to follow SkyAlert USA so you never miss out on crucial weather updates like this one and all our future videos.
And, if you want to help us keep doing what we do, please subscribe, give us a like, and drop a comment below. Your support really makes a difference.
Welcome back to SkyAlert USA, your #1 source for real-time severe weather coverage across the United States and Canada. I'm your host, and today, March 4th, 2026, we are tracking an incredibly active and dangerous weather pattern that is reshaping conditions from coast to coast. Whether you're in the frozen north, the thunderstorm-battered plains, or the flood-prone river valleys of the Midwest, this is a broadcast you cannot afford to miss. Buckle up, because winter's making one final brutal stand, and spring is already firing back with severe storms and tornado threats. Let's get into it. We begin with the story that has been dominating headlines since the final days of February and carries all the way into early March, the collapse and split of the polar vortex. Meteorologists have confirmed what they call a final stratospheric warming event. This is a major atmospheric phenomenon occurring roughly 20 kilometers above Earth's surface, where stratospheric winds have reversed direction, a sign that the polar vortex is breaking apart. Think of it like squeezing a balloon from two sides. The vortex vortex stretches, then splits, and when one of those cores drops southward over North America, the consequences are felt on the ground across millions of square miles. Right now, a displaced polar vortex core is sitting over Canada, with its influence pushing a deep freeze deep into the northern United States. This setup has been responsible for the harsh and prolonged cold snap that began at the end of February and has persisted into the first days of March 2026. The meteorological spring, which officially begins on March 1st, is off to a bitter, frosty start, and that's no coincidence. The most immediate weather event impacting the central and eastern United States right now is a powerful Alberta Clipper system, a fast-moving winter storm that originated in the lee of the Canadian Rockies and has been racing southeastward across the northern United States. These Clipper systems are named for their origin near Alberta, Canada. They're fueled by a massive surge of Arctic air diving southward from the Canadian interior, riding the powerful jet stream along the southern edge of the polar vortex. What makes them uniquely dangerous isn't necessarily the snow totals, it's the speed, the extreme cold that follows, and the blowing snow conditions that can instantly reduce visibility on highways to near zero. According to the latest model guidance, this Arctic Clipper is delivering a dry snow swath from the Dakotas across the Midwest and into the Ohio Valley, with the heaviest impacts now extending toward the Mid-Atlantic corridor. Iowa has already seen accumulations in the 4 to 8 inch range under this system, but here's where it gets particularly alarming. Some computer models are showing the potential for more than 10 inches of snowfall in portions of Virginia and West Virginia as the system pushes east. For the Great Lakes region, temperature readings are absolutely bone-chilling. Monday morning low temperatures across the Great Lakes and Northeast are running in the teens, mid-10s Fahrenheit in some locations. The Midwest and Ohio Valley are logging lows in the 20s. These are dangerously cold temperatures that can cause frostbite on exposed skin in a matter of minutes, especially when combined with sustained winds. But the cold story doesn't end with just snow. Some weather models are flagging a potential ice storm developing from Kentucky through Virginia and into the Carolinas. Up to half an inch of ice accumulation is possible in localized areas. For context, a quarter inch of ice can snap tree branches and coat roads in a near frictionless glaze. Half an inch. That means widespread power line failures, downed trees, and multi-day outages. Emergency managers in those states are already on alert. For commuters and travelers, the message is clear. Monday morning rush hour from Chicago and Detroit eastward through New York City and Philadelphia will be severely disrupted. Do not underestimate this storm.
North of the border, Canada is the source region for much of the misery currently spreading into the United States. Environment Canada has active weather alerts across a broad swath of Ontario, Quebec, and the Prairie provinces as the Arctic air mass settles in. Toronto and the Greater Toronto Area remain under cold weather warnings, still recovering from one of the most dramatic winter events in recent memory. You may recall that just weeks ago, in late January, Toronto Pearson International Airport recorded its largest single-day snowfall since records began in 1937, with 46 centimeters of snow falling in a single day, and over 60 centimeters accumulating in downtown Toronto. Over 560 flights were cancelled in a single afternoon. That storm, widely referred to as Winter Storm Fern, was one of the most catastrophic winter events in Canadian history. Now, with the polar vortex core still anchored near Canada, the cold air factory remains open and active. Temperatures well below seasonal averages are expected to persist across central and eastern Canada through at least the middle of March. The low-pressure zone over Canada is continuing to feed cold air southward into the United States, and this pattern shows little sign of breaking until late in the month. However, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it comes in the form of a powerful warm-up expected in the second half of March, with temperatures potentially surging well above normal as spring atmospheric patterns take over. More on that in the Forecast Outlook segment.
Now, here is where the broadcast shifts from winter hazards to what may be the most dangerous weather story of the week. The first significant severe weather outbreak of 2026 is now underway across the central and southern plains, and forecasters are sounding serious alarms. The Storm Prediction Center, the nation's premier severe weather forecasting agency, has issued consecutive 4-day severe weather outlooks beginning this week, with the highest risk of organized severe weather targeting the southern plains through the end of the week. Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas are currently highlighted in the first structured severe weather risk map of the 2026 season.
Here's what's happening atmospherically. A dry line is sharpening across West Texas. Upper-level energy is ejecting from the southwest, and moisture from the Gulf of Mexico is being pulled northward, creating a volatile and unstable air mass. When warm, humid Gulf air collides with the powerful cold front descending from the north, the result is explosive thunderstorm development.
For Wednesday, the Storm Prediction Center has issued a Level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather, with all modes of severe weather on the table. That means large hail, potentially the size of quarters or larger, with some storms capable of producing baseball-sized hail, damaging straight-line winds exceeding 70 miles per hour, tornadoes, including the potential for supercell tornadoes, particularly from west-central Texas into Oklahoma and southern Kansas.
And then there's Friday, which forecasters are targeting as the most dangerous single day of this multi-day severe weather sequence. As the jet stream strengthens across the southern plains and Gulf moisture surges further north, the ingredients for an organized tornado outbreak increase significantly. A few supercells are possible, and any discrete supercell that forms in this environment will have the ingredients to produce a significant tornado.
For the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, Wichita Falls, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Wichita, pay very close attention to local National Weather Service forecasts and storm warnings through Friday. Have multiple ways to receive warnings, a NOAA weather radio, smartphone apps, and a plan to reach shelter within 60 seconds if a tornado warning is issued for your location. This is not a drill. This is the first major severe weather threat of 2026, and the atmosphere is primed for it.
Adding to an already complex weather pattern, flood watches are now in effect for significant portions of the Ohio Valley, including parts of Ohio, Indiana, and West Virginia. A stationary frontal boundary draped across the region is acting as a focus for repeated rounds of heavy rain and embedded thunderstorms. Areas along and south of the Interstate 70 corridor, including the Miami Valley region of Ohio and southern Indiana, are in the crosshairs of this slow-moving precipitation system. When a front stalls, rain can fall over the same areas repeatedly for 12 to 24 hours or longer, overwhelming drainage systems and causing flash flooding even in areas that don't typically flood. Rivers in the Ohio Valley are already running above normal following the significant snowpack from this winter. As temperatures begin to warm in the coming days and rain falls on snow-covered terrain, the flooding threat will compound. Water systems and river gauges across upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and the Appalachians are also being monitored closely, as snowpack containing several inches of liquid equivalent could melt rapidly during the upcoming warm-up period. Flash flooding kills more Americans every year than tornadoes, and the conditions this week favor deadly flood events. Turn around, don't drown, never drive through flooded roadways.
Let's break it down region by region for the next 3 days. Wednesday, March 4th. The Arctic Clipper continues its push toward the mid-Atlantic. Snowfall and blowing snow conditions will affect travel from the Ohio Valley to the Northeast Corridor, with icy conditions developing in portions of the mid-Atlantic states. Temperatures will be sharply below normal across the Great Lakes and Northeast. Expect dangerous wind chills in the teens and single digits. Meanwhile, severe thunderstorms are firing across central Oklahoma and southern Missouri as the first round of the multi-day storm outbreak begins. Large hail is the primary threat today.
Thursday, March 5th. The cold front drops further south and east, with the storm system moving into the mid-Mississippi Valley. Severe weather ingredients remain active across the southern plains. Scattered severe thunderstorms are expected across parts of southern and central Texas, with large hail, isolated damaging gusts, and a tornado or two possible. The flood threat in the Ohio Valley continues through Thursday afternoon as the stationary front remains in place. In the northeast, the coldest air of the season so far will be settling in. Wind chills could fall to -20 Fahrenheit across parts of the northern plains and Great Lakes overnight.
Friday, March 6th. This is the day forecasters have been watching most carefully. As Gulf moisture surges north and the jet stream intensifies, severe storm development is expected to be at its peak across the southern plains. Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas face the highest organized tornado risk this day. Supercell storms capable of producing long-track tornadoes, very large hail, and destructive winds are possible. Simultaneously, the warm-up begins to take hold across the east and southeast as the Arctic air retreats. Temperatures will begin rising, and a dramatic transition in the pattern will get underway by the weekend.
The big picture for the rest of March and into spring 2026 is this: we are entering a period of extreme meteorological volatility.
La Niña, the oceanic climate pattern that has influenced winter weather across the United States and Canada for the past several months, is collapsing. The transition to ENSO neutral and then potentially El Niño conditions is expected by early spring 2026. When La Niña fades, the jet stream becomes more erratic and energized. It dips further south, creating powerful storm systems and dramatically increasing the risk for severe weather across the plains and Mississippi Valley.
AccuWeather long-range forecasters have issued warnings that as the calendar moves through March and into April and May, the tornado threat across the central United States will increase. The highest hail risk stretches from Texas to Alabama, with a second hotspot across Iowa, northern Missouri, eastern Nebraska, and northeastern Kansas.
Tornado activity will ramp up steadily, with the most volatile period expected in April and May, the traditional peak of tornado season in America. Above normal snowfall is still expected across southern Canada and the northern United States through mid-March before the pattern finally breaks.
And then, in a dramatic reversal, temperatures are expected to surge well above normal heading into late March and early April, which could trigger early season flooding as this winter's massive snowpack rapidly melts. Spring 2026 is going to be one for the record books.
And SkyAlert USA will be here for every warning, every watch, and every outbreak. That's your complete SkyAlert USA weather briefing for Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. Whether it's Arctic blasts, ice storms, severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, or flooding, we are tracking every threat, every moment, so you don't have to be caught off guard. If this broadcast helped keep you or your family informed and safe, please hit the like button, subscribe to SkyAlert USA, and turn on notifications so you never miss a severe weather update. Share this video with everyone in the affected regions, because when it comes to life-threatening weather, information is survival.
Stay safe, stay alert,